Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and I am proud to say I am in Santa Monica, California, and I am at the AI Vibes event hosted by Tal Navarro and her team, and I am having a ball. I've learned so much, so many panels, so many speakers. It's been a great time, and I was able to snag Alex Lashinsky on the line and snag him out of the conference and have him on here. I was told that, hey, he needs to be on the show. So, Alex, first off, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for having me here.
All right, so AI Vibes, Santa Monica, how are you feeling?
Feeling great. I like the weather. I like the vibe. Especially it's a AI vibe, right?
Yeah, I'm in for the vibe for sure. The vibes have been good. So what have been some of your favorite things out here, whether it's panels, speakers, things you learn? What
I like the audience. Yeah, I like the people who is attending this cool event. I like organizers, speakers, panelists. I like you. I like to be here.
Very kind. So what brought you to the event in the first place? Like, why'd you come out for it?
Yeah, so first of all, the content, of course, right?
Yeah.
And the LA is a good place to be, right? Yeah. So I drove like 6 hours yesterday from San Francisco to be here, to see how AI is changing the Southern California and the world.
Yeah. And so your company, Effective, tell me a little bit more about that.
So I'm in language and AI for 18 years already.
Wow. Yeah.
So before...
before it was like the everything's AI, you were already working on it? Okay.
Yeah, so we, like everybody... For 18 years already, asking me, like, you guys do translations, interpretations. You have a lot of interpreters, translators. They do these translation jobs, and you guys going to be replaced soon. People, was asking me this question for 18 years already. Before AI, before neural language models, it used to be statistical, rule-based models, then neural machine translation. And people for 18 years, asking me the same question. And especially now, after GPT, after language, large language models, and this huge improvement in AI and in machine translation, they're like, guys, you're going to be replaced soon. But we are growing year after year, and we use humans still, talented, linguists and engineers who build AI in our organization. So we use AI and we use humans and we use human-in-loops. So we building different language solutions for government, for enterprise.
So you've been in the space longer than many people have been thinking about it. So let's just say it that way. So that being said, for the mass populations, right? I don't want any emails like, oh, I've been working on it. Okay, you've been working on it. Great. 18 years is a long time. I haven't been talking about AI for 18 years. So anyway, so that being said,
AI at that day.
so what is, you have a unique vantage point because you've been the guy, whether you wanted to be or not, and people are bugging you about the topic for a long time. Like, what excites you right now? Like, what is like impressive to you? It could be technology, software, it could be anything. Like, what impresses you right now?
Yeah. So the technology is developing much faster than 10 years ago, right? And 15 years ago, right? And so what I'm excited about these visual models, right? Visual AI. And different models like Sora. Yeah. For example, I don't know, how does it work?
It's different, isn't it? It's amazing. I know for many of these things, we're still in the like shiny toy phase. I get it, but man, we love our toys and they're so shiny. The self-driving cars, right? We have a bunch of them in San Francisco. And I love it. So I'm more focusing on one part of AI, which is NLP, natural language processing. I know a little bit about it, but other parts, I'm so excited to see, fast is growing. So how do you think it's going to affect your industry long term? Like, obviously, we're still using humans. We're still a pair. I'm not saying, is it going to replace? So when I ask that question, I don't mean it like just basic, is it going to replace? I mean, like, just how do you think overall, it's going to affect your industry, like, or improvements or otherwise?
So I think that...
That crystal ball, come on, man.
Right. I think that a lot of jobs and translation jobs, interpretation jobs will change a lot, but we will need more and more humans but they're going to do different things that they did before.
Yeah.
Like we see that amount of content is growing.
Yeah.
You know? Like so, and the content, became more personal, right? And not only on your language, but for,
many languages.
Yeah, many. And that the brands, government, enterprise businesses would like to send you messages and communicate with you on your language, and they would like to provide you different content. And this amount of content is growing, and this content not equally valuable.
Yeah.
So there is a part of content we could use machine translation or AI to translate, and there is a part of content we need humans, right? Like healthcare or courts or marketing and we still need the humans. We cannot replace them.
Well, and when I've looked at, I'll say in some ways we can. So some fields, I would argue in yours, and this is just my opinion, I have no professional background in your field, by the way. But when I look at industries like yours, I always think about like the market's going to get bigger. Like the market's going to, so even some of those same, and I'm pulling rabbits out of a hat when I give any numbers, but say there was 10 translators doing X amount, 100 projects. Now they're still going to need those 10 translators. It might be something different, but now they may be using AI and they're doing 500 projects or something else. And now the scope of what a client expects is they expect more, probably at a lower dollar amount too. Like the agency model, if you think about like social media or otherwise, like once upon a time, the amount you would charge for one post per week was a fair amount. But now if the client, whether you think your creative's one way or another, if the client wants one per day and they're willing to, they're okay with some AI and they're okay with some other things so that they can get it within their, their cost parameters. At the end of the day, you can give them your professional opinion. Sometimes it's going to be good. Sometimes it's not going to be, but either way, it's what the client wants. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to do say no, and then they go to another agency. So any service, right? We have to think about the end result, like how we're providing value, right?
Right. Yeah, Adam. I know you have a financial background. You're good with the numbers, and you could.
Did you
calculate.
Like my 10 to 100? Yeah, I'm so fancy with that one, Alex.
Yeah, so you could count, and you could. But
I could say 10 to 100. I could.
You're right. You're like,
that's awesome.
Before that, I don't know, like 10 years ago, the amount of content which was translated was like zillion words a year. Now it's 10 or 100 zillions. And, right, some of them.
So then my guess is like it's right. Like you're affirming that my guess that because I didn't know. That was just an assumption based off our conversation. I'm like, so it's getting that big. Wow.
Yeah. So and we have a huge demand on linguists even now. More and more translation done by machines,
so
right?
More
by AI, but we still have a huge demand.
For sure.
Like post editor, proofreader, who gonna check, who gonna, prepare the data sets, parallel corpuses for machine translation to train. So now all these linguists, they work in different spheres. They do different things.
Yeah, and I find, and I'm not speaking for your industry because I don't know this, but just in general, a lot of the rote work in many industries, it's kind of like taken away. Like I think about like Industrial Revolution before, robotic production lines on a car assembly line or otherwise. Like, it changed, things changed, but the other individuals that would have maybe historically done that particular job, putting that bolt on for 30 years, not saying that the people that did that was anything wrong with them. I mean, that built this country and many other countries. Like that's what was needed at that time. But now that person gets to maybe express more of themselves in their life, and going to work doesn't necessarily have to just be a trade-off of your life and existence because you want to provide for your family. So now the level of complexity for whether it's your industry and it's a linguist or it's somebody that loves language, and now they get to explore where they may have had something that was more rote in the beginning or whatever level they were at, whatever, but now they get to do more. It's like more, and you get to provide more value to the client, so it can be this circle of wins, really, just wins.
Right, and you mentioned the industrial revolution, and I think now we are going through AI revolution. You know, some jobs will be replaced, but we are much more flexible than 100 years ago.
For sure,
we're learning, we're flexible.
Even on our expectations as employers now, like X amount of years ago, you could work for one employer, and you were with that employer for 30 years, right? But now it's like if somebody says they have another job or another side thing, well, as long as you're working and getting your work done for the amount of hours you're being paid for here, great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and
like, that never happened before. That's different. That's different for the workplace to get hired for a serious job and you're doing something else at the same time.
I believe that in the future you will not have a one employer. You will have a bunch of different projects you can choose from,
for
like
sure.
Freelancers, right?
Yeah.
And I think most of the jobs want to look like this in the future. You know, you're going to be more independent. You pick what you want. You're done. You finish. And actually, that's a good conversation because I work with thousands of freelancers. For some of them, for a big number of them, I work for 15 years or more.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah, like
the writing field that allowed it. That allowed that way back when.
Employees doesn't stay with me for so long.
Yep.
But freelancers, we think that they are not dedicated. They here and there, but they stay for so many years if they like it. Like
if you're providing the right value proposition between the person writing the check and the person cashing it, and the quality of work and expectations, like it's interesting.
Like I remember New York cab drivers. 10 years ago, I paid $150 to get to the airport, and he was yelling at me because I was like 1 minute late. But now they're so nice. When I'm calling Uber, they're so nice. They wanna, give you a water, charger, because they're freelancers, right?
Yeah.
Because they need good rating. They need a tip and so on. So this technology changed everything, and they're all freelancers. And I work with freelancers for many years. The job is changing right now, but still I love to work with independent contractors, with freelancers here in the US and in many different countries.
Amazing. Alex, I just have to say, so much fun having you on the show. I love it. I learned a lot. Like my aim and my goal is to bring great content for my audience, and you delivered today. I learned more about what's going on in linguistics and also in AI related to that industry. I want you to look at the camera, tell everyone how they can learn more about Effective and how they can follow you and your company.
Yeah, so my name is Alex Leshinsky, and I'm a founder, CEO at Effective. It's EFFECTIFF. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. So please follow and join our team if you're looking for a job.
Amazing. Speaking of join, I don't got anything for you to join, but you can hit that subscribe button. This is a daily show. You knew it was coming, long-term listeners. You know I always end with that. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, this is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new guests, new thought leaders, new inspiration, new stories, new knowledge. If that sounds interesting, again, hit that subscribe button. Alex,
subscribe.
Again, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Adam.